Hello, my name is Alicia Frizzell, and today I'm going to be presenting to you a neat little intake on the chemistry of Julius Caesar. I am the STEM director at Union County High School. We've been STEM certified as a program for our high school. While this year has been challenging, we're very excited for all the opportunities that we were able to continue to offer our students and to continue and grow in our STEM education. And so, throughout some of these presentations, we've been trying to give you some insights of how we design our curriculum and how we integrate different subject matter into our units. So, today I'm going to kind of give you a different perspective on talking about English and STEM and how you can utilize your English teachers to bring them into science and math education. Because we all know that, to me, science is the fun class, and STEM is how you make it and bring it all together. But we can use English and infiltrate those English classes with STEM and STEAM also. So I want to give you some ideas and some things that we do at Union County High School with our STEM and STEAM, and how we integrate English into our science and math courses, and hopefully give you some takeaways and some ideas of some things that you can use in the future. So, first of all, when we're talking about Union County High School, we're going to give you kind of some background about our high school and our STEM academy. Our high school has approximately 850 students in it, and our STEM academy has around 121 students enrolled in our STEM academy. Students are able to join the STEM academy if they want to. They have to fill out an application, and we try to make room for all the students who apply. There are instances and situations where it might not be the best fit for students, but we always let them give that shot. We let them come in there, see how they can perform, and we try to provide resources. We encourage all of our students to participate in the accelerated courses in their middle school career at Union County High School. We have a great middle school feeder program where students are able to take high school level physical science as well as Algebra 1 in 8th grade. And so we encourage all of our STEM applicants to have done that their 8th grade year to give them more of a foundation. But we have accepted students into our academy who have not taken those accelerated classes and provided the resources to bring them up to the level that everyone else is as they enter into high school. So that's a little bit of background about our STEM academy. We spend a majority of our time as teachers, we are talking daily. We are talking, we have planning days that we talk and plan our units. We are continuously discussing students, their performances, what we can do to help better support them, how we can make them more successful in our STEM academy. And a lot of times we find our math and science students are great in math and science, but English is their weak point. And sometimes they hate English. And so what we've done in our STEM academy is bring in English in a science form. And it's been very interesting to see how students originally, for instance, Julius Caesar, for a lot of students, it's a hard read. It's a hard subject to understand. William Shakespeare is a difficult writer for students to understand the terminology and how it all relates to them. But when we put it in the form of chemistry, a class where the kids love, playing and blowing things up and catching things on fire, they love the experiment part of the chemistry, and we bring it into a culminating STEM or STEAM project, then their eyes light up and then they begin to see English as their friend as opposed to their enemy. So a little bit more background about me. I am a science teacher. I am a chemistry major. I have a degree in chemistry. I do not have a degree in English. English is not my favorite subject. I was very happy that I only took 3 Englishes in college and never, ever, ever wanted to take any more Englishes again. However, we know research supports that Lexile levels and students' reading ability is directly linked to student achievement. At Union County High School, we spend a lot of time analyzing data of our students, and we monitor their Lexile levels. We take a reading inventory of their Lexile level at least 3 times a year. We try to do it 4 times a year. This year we only got 3 because it was a crazy year. We all survived. But we do usually take at least 4 reading inventory measurements of their Lexile levels, and we like to see those improve as the years go on, and to make sure they are on target and to get them above grade level. These Lexile levels are directly linked to their student achievement. Students who have higher Lexile scores typically have higher SAT scores. They have higher EOC scores. They do better on your formative assessments. They do better on your summative assessments. In general, they're able to analyze what's being asked of them, and they can answer those correctly. A lot of times students know the content, but they don't know what's being asked of them. So having the reading Lexile level ability, that provides them with the ability to not only know what's asked of them and then how to answer that question. A lot of the times it's lost in what is being asked. They don't understand the questions. So we must integrate English, the whole content, throughout STEM and STEAM units and throughout anything that we do. It just makes sense to build upon students' reading levels, reading abilities, their writing abilities. You want these students to be great writers. If they can't write about what they have accomplished or what their results are in a lab, no one's going to find that information. It's not going to go any further. So they also have to have that ability to write. So by integrating English, we can make some great connections and bridge some awesome content to really make the whole learning as a child complete the picture of education. So, some quick tips and some easy ways to get into this. Start off easy. Lab reports. The necessary evil of lab reports. Students must be able to write their analysis of their data from laboratory experiments, just in a standard science classroom. They have to be able to formally give you what they found out. And so by using your English teachers to build the level of your lab reports, your English teachers are able to help provide some great input, and they can help your students with their grammar. They can help them with punctuation, the little things that to me as a chemistry teacher is very difficult to grade. You would think that we would know those standard English rules, but I'm going to be honest with you. I do not know everything about English rules. I do not know everything about MLA formatting or APA formatting. So I need an expert in that field to help me adequately and correctly grade my students' work. In science classes, we can easily incorporate nonfiction books and have literature circles in our classrooms. You can easily incorporate weekly current events or articles that the students must read and simply summarize. Summarizing is a skill that students, you'll be surprised, do not know how to do. Even though they should know how to summarize by the time you have them in high school, a lot of times they do not. And so just building on their ability to summarize things and giving them different word limits. Say, oh, you have to do this in 100 words, or you have to do this in 500 words, or you have to do this in 250 words, and making them stick to those word limits and learning how to assimilate their ideas in different links is a very important skill. Research analysis, having them look at different types of research and analyze the different types of research. There's so much research, especially right now. The world is at your fingertips. And you can differentiate that easily. You can have the students choose a topic that they want to research. And simple vocabulary building. Those are some quick ways that every science teacher can incorporate English into their classroom. But let's take it a step further. So the title of this presentation was The Chemistry Behind Julius Caesar. So I'm going to talk a lot about our project on Julius Caesar, what we did, how we incorporated it, and how we also take this to the next level, and how you can incorporate this not only in chemistry, you can use it in the physical science classroom, and you can use it with Julius Caesar, or you can use it with other literary pieces of work. So where do we start? First of all, as you were probably thinking, when we got to this particular part of our curriculum, as we were building our units and our project-based, our PBL units and our projects, the English teacher and I and the engineering teacher and I, we were sitting down and we were like, I do not have a clue how we are going to incorporate the topics of study we were on. For instance, in chemistry, we were fixing to go into stoichiometry. In engineering, they were perfecting their engineering design processes, and they were working on finalizing their CAD, how to use CAD, different CAD platforms. And we just kind of looked at each other, and we had some simple ideas, and we're like, oh, well, we could do this, but this really isn't a good, meaty PBL unit. So, our first year we were thinking, well, maybe this is just going to be a standalone thing. We'll just have English class, we can have chemistry class, we'll have our engineering thing, and they'll just have separate things, and then we'll bring it all together for the next topic. But we didn't like that idea, because all year long we've been able to integrate everything else. So we just kept brainstorming. And actually, we had a student teacher that was visiting classrooms, and they were visiting our classroom. And at the end of the class, they were talking about what they saw and how excited they were. And we were like, hey, let's, we asked someone new. We were like, so we're fixing to come up on this unit in a few weeks. Do you have any ideas on how we can integrate Julius Caesar and chemistry and engineering? How can we go, how can we build on this? And the student teacher looked at us crazy. She was like, what in the world? And we got to talking, and we got to bouncing ideas off. And finally, we stumbled upon, they said, what about character analysis and making the characters be elements? And that's all they had to say. That's all they had to say. And from that point on, we were like, bam, genius. You're genius. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so we started building our unit from that. So as we were reading Julius Caesar, the students had to think of the characters in terms of chemical elements. And as the play goes on, these elements are reacting with each other, just like characters react with each other, and they're creating chemical reactions. So not only did they have to know extreme character analysis to make it match with an element, they also had to understand how elements react together. So they had to pick elements that would chemically react with each other to create a certain product that they were looking for. So there was a lot of great, I was able to do all kinds of, balancing equations, types of chemical equations, types of chemical reactions. We went into a great deal more about chemical elements than what I, originally had thought I would be able to analyze with these students. And then we took it the next step. As we finished the play, then they had to create stoichiometric relationships to quantify the outcomes of the characters in the play and match it with the chemistry and the numerical values that they got at the end, and had to kind of figure out, like, who are the limiting reactants, who were the excess reagents in this chemical reaction. You gotta know some chemistry to kind of understand this lingo that I'm talking about. Basically, you had to figure out who were the most important characters of this situation. And as we were talking about all this, we did baby steps to build up to our PBL unit, and I'll tell you at the end what we did for the whole project. But to begin with, we just start with, simple posters, as far as we let them analyze their characters in terms of elements to begin with. So this is like kind of step one of some of their work. And as you see, we also give them time to express their art abilities. We have found out numerous times that while we are a STEM academy, we try to integrate arts as much as we can because a lot of our students are so talented in the world of art that it amazes us every time at the products that they can develop and then we had no idea of their potential. And so we try to always keep those components in our PBL units. And so, we give them time to create, even on their poster works as their little mini steps to get to the end of our project. We allow them that time to express their creativity. As you can see, this student right here, they went all out and had all kinds of wonderful, she painted it, she worked so hard, she took it home, made this beautiful scene, and it really helped her in the end to her final project. Then, to incorporate that to the next level, we started adding in some math. And so we added in some statistical analysis and some probability, and we started playing with these character analysis, and we're like, okay, well, if this character would have done this, what might have been the outcome? And we played with a little bit about, changing the ending of the play and changing the ending of what could have happened if different things could have happened in different ways. And we did some statistics in that. And they had to also create like a pie chart of which characters they thought played the greatest role in different decision makings of different characters and who had the most influence, so on and so forth. And then for engineering, we had them actually design a replica since they were on their CAD perfecting unit in their engineering class. We had them design a theater, and then the kids had to memorize a play, or not a play, but they had to memorize a speech, and they had to take their final project was they had to take a controversial topic and they had to create a speech about that topic using all the things that they had learned from the different speeches from Julius Caesar and the different character analysis that they had gained through the project. And they had to present all of the things that they have done throughout the project and incorporate all that into their final assessment. And they had to they debated back and forth, and we had some judges, and people had to win their debate basically. And so it was really, really interesting. It was a really awesome project, and we do it every year, and we try to change up every year what we do as our final project so it doesn't get boring for us, but also so the kids don't always know what's coming for them. If we do the same thing every single year, then they already come with ideas of, oh, well, I know this team won and they did this, so I'm going to replicate that idea. And we don't want to stunt out creativity. So that's really the hard part about all this, is continually finding new projects every year, and we build or just modify them so that they're a little bit different. Now, the beauty of this project was we realized that we can model this framework for any work of literature. The freshman class is in world literature, so they read Julius Caesar. But you can modify this in any level of any English class. And you can use that same chemistry content and even the engineering content and the mathematics content in any level in high school, in any of their English courses. Another thing that we try to do in other different works of literature that we've read is we analyze different points of view. So, for instance, if you're reading the Odyssey, again, I'm speaking mostly of world literature, which is the class that we do as freshmen and that I'm the most familiar with because, again, I'm a chemistry teacher and I'm going based on the experience that I've had working with a world literature teacher. But if I taught with an American literature teacher, we would also be able to do this through American literature also, or British literature, or any other literature, or advanced composition classes. Those are the beautiful classes that are very easy to integrate things through, but I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But with points of view, you can also talk about lenses. And if you look at things through different lenses, you end up gaining different points of views. And so in chemistry, we can talk a lot about electron configuration and how when the electrons are excited, they go to different energy levels and they can actually give off different emission spectrums. And in physics, you can talk about, or even in physical science, different colors and the relationship between colors and wavelengths and energy. And that also brings you into another beautiful piece of integrating art into different colors and pigments and how you add them together, additive colors and subtractive colors and so on and so forth. And even the difference between light and pigment. So there's a lot of beautiful things that you can integrate there using points of view and literature. And you can integrate those into different science classes also. Another thing that we try to do this twice a year. We do it once in the fall and we do it once in the spring. We do literature circles in our classes where students can pick different themes, and then they have books that they read based on those themes. And then they have virtual reading groups and literature circles, virtual literature circles, which was beautiful this year. We did not know this pandemic was coming, but we had, designed this 7 years ago. And it was so wonderful this year because we had already had the platform to teach students how to discuss and reflect with each other virtually. So we were able to use that. We kind of jumped into this like one of our first units as the craziness was occurring in the fall. And then we also did it in January because we had another big surge here at our area. And we were able to use it in January. And we're probably going to keep this in our pocket at any time because we don't know what the future holds. And at any moment, things can go crazy again. But we try to do this twice a year. And the students, they themselves discuss their books together. They can create flip grids. They create different videos. They were able to do hangouts, and they recorded those and submitted them to us so we could see the discussion that was occurring. So we actually weren't a part of all of each individual literature discussions, and they had to do so many. Usually it ranged between 3 and 4, depending on the length of the book, that they had to do the different discussions, and they had different points that they had to talk about. Of course, they reflect whether they liked it or not, what their favorite part was, what stood out to them, a famous quote from the book that was, that impacted them, or how they related it to their lives. And then they also tried to relate it to current events, what was happening in the world, or, just different themes in general. And then at the end, we had them create a commercial about their book. And with each of these, they had to analyze the science content. We left that part very broad in the beginning. And then each time we've done this, we try to directly link it to whatever we're talking about in class. And they have to find those connections. And sometimes, I can't tell you how many times, they're like, I don't understand. This is not connecting. I said, yes, it does. Keep thinking. And they always find the connection. Sometimes it's a stretch, but they find the connection. So having the students find the application of what they're learning at that point in time in whatever they're reading is so important. And we try to make sure we pick texts that they can find those connection in. And then every now and then, if you have a really difficult student, it's real fun to give them one that it's extremely hard to find those connections because they'll drive you crazy. But then when they do find those connections, you can be like, you did it. You can do, you can take them to the next level. So there's a lot of differentiation that can occur with these literature circles that you can incorporate. And these are things that's done completely out of class. They don't do this in class. If we have, for this year, we had virtual Fridays. So virtual Fridays were their literature. That was their assignment on those Fridays. But in the past, we've done it in different ways. Sometimes we've had them do it all on their own, depending on the level of the students in the class. If you have a class full of go-getters, yeah, they can do it completely on their own, and they love it. If I have, may have some groups that are struggling, and we'll pull them out and we'll do it, kind of guide them along and do it together in the class. So that's another opportunity. There's many ways that you can modify these literature circle opportunities in your science classroom. Another great, easy way to integrate English into all science classrooms and also to kind of infiltrate your science class into an English class is through scientific research projects. If you can have students choose a scientific research project and you can work with an English teacher, it's a beautiful relationship. Even if it's just for a few weeks, some great differentiation can occur. Students get to pick something they're interested in to research. Can't be a one and done. It needs to be a project that's going to take months to complete. Even years would be better. What we've trying to incorporate now is what they do as a freshman. We want to try to build on that as a sophomore and junior and a senior. We're still in the process of working on that. Making sure we have those same connections all 4 years because those research is so important and bringing in their internship opportunities into their research. Find a mentor for them. Many mentors are better. And you can make it a competition. And the kids love competing with each other. Most of the time, it can get brutal, but it will always up your level of academic work that you get. And make them present their research. And so also you're bringing in some presentation skills that they can learn and utilize from their English classes. When you bring in your English teachers, you are helping yourself as well as helping the students because you're able to assess their research not only on a content level, but then you're able to reassess, their grammar, their citations, their parenthetical citations, their formatting, all the things that have a bazillion different details that, like, for me, who is a chemistry teacher, I forget those details and I spend hours going back saying, is this the right way you format this in MLA? Or is this how you format an APA? Bring in those experts to help you grade their projects. And when that project carries weight in an English class, then the students see that the English teacher also believes that what they're doing is important too. And they believe that STEM is important and they're able to kind of, see some more connections and see you working with another individual. And, design it like a graduate level course for these kids. For those of you who took advanced research courses, even in your undergrad or graduate work, pull out those notebooks, pull out the notes that you took, and, teach the students some of the things that you learned about the difference between qualitative and quantitative data, some statistical analysis. Bring in your math teachers to teach your students some statistical analysis. Build a team for these students so that they can see who all can help them in different aspects and have different checkpoints. Create a little rubric with different checkpoints that different teachers can say, oh, yes, I talked with this kid about this, I helped them do this, or just a check, or just a yes, or no, or a stamp, or something. And bring in community and business partners. You can bring them in to mentor them as they develop their projects or their research, and you can also bring them in to judge at the end. So to sum everything up, English teachers are our friends. Collaborate with them. Get with them, ask more ideas on integrating reading and writing in your curriculum. There's way more than what I just tried to give you right here. But we have to remember that everybody's content is important. And we have to integrate as much as possible whenever we can. And whenever we find those opportunities to integrate, it helps us all. It helps the students. It helps their long-term learning. They will learn a whole lot more. And they will be able to apply their knowledge. Hold on just a minute. I apologize. They'll be able to apply their knowledge in many more aspects, in many more situations, if they are able to see how all the content fits together as a whole in a big picture. So thank you for listening to this presentation. There is my contact information. You can contact me at afrizel@ucschools.org. Feel free to ask me anything. I can put you in touch with my English teachers who are also very eager to answer questions. Um, and they love it when we have other people come in and we try to build on more ideas. Because, like I said, we try to do things as different as we can every single year, but we still build on the basic concepts. We just try to create different products for our project based learning units that we create every year. So, with all that being said, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. And check us out on our platform at the Georgia DOE STEM STEAM community, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.